Mm, mm, mm. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the DBL podcast. I am your host, Rock Solid. On today's episode, we're going to veer off track. We were going to talk about love, but people's ended up getting too emotional. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to hit on a topic that's something that we can all relate to. But before we do, I hope everybody joins me in saying happy birthday to my mother, Vivian Maxine Calhoun. My mom was a mother of three. My mom was a single mother. Um, my mom made her own choices in life. My mom was full of energy. She had a smile that would light up a room. She stood about 5'3". She was a red bone. She had this blonde hair and this one little gold tooth, man. And she was a Hellcat. My mom was one of those people that if she didn't like you, she made it very clear to you. If she didn't like you, she made that very clear. But the one thing you could never question was how she felt about you. But the one thing that she made true and stayed true was that our family stayed together. We had a bond like no other. My mom would scrap with you. My mom would cuss you out. My mom she would give you that thunder. Like I said, she didn't hold back. She was a Hellcat, and I loved her for it. And the things that she taught us as kids, we didn't know that they were life lessons then. But as we've gotten older, I have a sister, that passed away. And she had kids that were left behind. And my other sister, who had no kids at the time, without even blinking, she took those kids in. My nieces and nephew refer to her as mom because that's how she raised them, as if they were her own. And that's why we're going to talk on today's episode about family connection that are fading. Things that mean a lot to us in life, we seem to throw them to the wayside because we don't have the same connection to other people. But the reason why those connections are gone, is because we don't even try to bring them in. So today's episode is going to be on family connections, okay? Although those words rolled out together are very powerful, but separately, those words have an even more powerful meaning. Let's get into this family connection, okay? Family connection is something that I have always had. As a kid, I grew up in a large family with a lot of branches off that tree, okay? Growing up in the South, you learn really, really quick what family is, okay? The holidays, you're around family. Family reunions, cookouts, you know what I'm saying? And of course, cooking dinner over Muddy house. If you're old enough, you know what a Muddy is. Muddy was the oldest family member in that family, and she didn't ask for it, she commanded the respect from everybody in that family. Muddy isn't a title that anybody can get, and I had one in my life for the first 10 years of my life. I knew her, and I asked a lot of questions, and I did a lot, because we spent a lot of time over there. I don't remember a day in my childhood that I wasn't at least one family member's house. That's how my family was. I can't speak for everyone else, but that was my family, okay? And prior to the 2000s, right? Family meant everything. And then this thing that we all know today as social media started to become popular, and then all of a sudden the family aspect started to fade. Right? What is a family connection to me? It's a bond. It's my identity to my past. It's a reconnection with my past relatives. Okay. And I need you, pay close attention to the words that I'm using today. Okay. Bond. Right? A bond is something that links us together. You know what I'm saying? That, a connection is a relationship with a person that, or an idea that are linked together. That's that bond part, okay? But what is a family connection? A family connection is the ability to communicate support, enhance a relationship among family members. Okay, I'm gonna say that again because I think I stuttered a little bit through it, right? What is a family connection? Okay, those two words together, we're talking about family connection. It is the ability to communicate, support, and enhance relationships among family members. Not your homies from the street, not your girlfriend, not the one who pretends to be your sister, right? But that bloodline, okay? That's where that ability to communicate. And we all don't have this structure, right? But you must, it's something that you must learn, because somebody's going to have a child, or you may have children, and you must be able to communicate. You must be able to support them, and you must be able to enhance that relationship among each other. That's the only way this works, okay? The word to me that best describes a family connection, I would say, would be bond. Because there is nothing like a bond between family members, okay? As we are fully engulfed in this social media world, and family is starting to fade faster than mumble rap. Just kidding. Family connections are non-existent, okay? There was a time when families stayed near each other, okay? So, by family being near, you never felt alone in this world. There was a time that if you were sick, everybody knew, and you had people coming by, aunts and cousins and friends, just to check on you. Or hell, let's hit a little bit closer to home, right? Remember when you used to have pictures on the wall that showed your family history? You know what I'm saying? And please don't give me this crap about it's all digital now, right? Those pictures on the wall showed your family history, your family time, your family ties. It shows moments that we can all relive at some point, somehow, some way. Okay? Remember I told you I had a muddy, okay? And how do I say it? I asked her one day, I said, my dear, why is everybody's pictures, why is the pictures of everybody's family on the wall? You know what I'm saying? And as I look back now, I'm 46, right? As I look back, her answer was so profound. But as a kid, I understood it because I asked her at an age where I could understand what she was talking about. And her answer was, like I said, it was profound, right? It's a very, how do I say it? She would give it to me like this. She said, it's for moments like this. She said it was for moments like this so that the kids can ask who these people were, and the adults could tell the story of our family and who everyone was. As a kid, I just said, okay, that's cool. And then, because it seemed like every time I went to her house, I saw a different picture. Even though these pictures been on the wall for as far back as I can remember, I always seem to have found a different picture. When I used to go to my Aunt Anna's house, she had pictures on the wall of her family, and there was questions about those. I used to go to different aunts' houses and relatives' houses, and there was always questions because, again, I come from a really large family. Family connection was so major when I was younger. Excuse me. Now we live in a digital world, so much that we don't even know our first cousins anymore. Our kids don't know their aunts and uncles anymore unless they're coming by, to smoke one or to drink one with them. Our kids really don't know it, because they see them in passing. People stay so far apart from each other. No one wants that bond anymore. Okay? Your kids don't know their history. When you go to the doctor, you don't even know your own family history, and you mess around and get misdiagnosed because you can't answer that one simple question: does this run in your family? And you think about it from the aspect of you can't even answer if diabetes, high blood pressure, mental illness, because you don't know the answer to these questions. That's just how far the family dynamics are starting to phase. We all have our own lives. We all have our own way of raising our children. We have our own way of raising our families. But your history matters. And because we started when I was younger, this babies having babies generation, where we had teenage moms having kids. Kids started to think that they were growner than their parents, and they started doing their own thing. And the moment, they got, they had a child, they started to break free and they wanted to go into their own direction and do their own thing. And remember, they're still teenagers. They don't know anything yet. There is going to come a time when our kids will be dating family members. Because we live in the same area. You live 6 blocks away from your sister or your first cousin or your brother, and your kids don't even know their kids. Yeah, I said your kids are going to be, there's going to come a time, because family dynamics are fading so fast, that your kids are going to be dating their own family members. And by the time somebody comes around that knows both kids, it's going to be too late. Because it's not like kids are waiting to have sex anymore. So now your sister's kid then had sex with your cousin's son, so they sleeping with each other's relatives, and now you want to act like it's something that's only in the South. But the further away you get away from a family dynamic and a family connection, the more you run the risk of something like that happening. You know what I'm saying? And so, as you ask yourself this, when my mother passed away, we had somebody in our family to step up. That was my Aunt Anna. She was the next oldest member, but she was already considered a Madea anyway. We just never gave her that title because we had one living and in the flesh. But you got to ask yourself and your family, when that person passed away, who stepped up? Who said, I'm going to continue to make this family stronger? And yet, ask yourself how much you and your own kids know about their own family history. It may not seem all that important to you, right? Not today, but there will be a time when you're not around to answer those questions for your own kids or your grandkids. What happens then? How will your kids know their family history? If you want to live your life, people keep talking about blood is thicker than water. It is. Your friends are the watered down version of your family. Your friends that you consider more of a family than your own family, those are the ones who say and do what you do. They think like you. Oh, you don't need them. You only need us. Just because you're angry doesn't change the fact that family must mean something to you. We as humans must stop letting our angry mouths speak for our hurt hearts. And I'm going to say that for you one more time, okay? I'm going to repeat that one more time, okay? Listen up, listen. We must stop letting our angry mouths speak for our hurt hearts. Family connections are fading, and it's because we allow the crap that we see on social media to dictate how we operate. Everything or advice that is given isn't for everybody. Just because you see something on social media, right, that you can relate to, what someone else says, something that you can relate to someone else says, right, it doesn't mean that you know the full story. You don't know the background. You don't know the pain that person went through to make them feel the way that they feel. Okay? There is a story behind everything that we say in life, right? If you can relate to something, that's great. Take something from that, but you have to reapply that to your life. We all as people, look at the world we live in, okay? We must start to give family some value, because people are dying from drugs. People are dying at the hands of the police. People are dying from the hands of their own friends. People are even dying from people that they quote unquote say that they love. This is letting you know that you have to hold on to the people who care the most about you. Okay. I choose family all day, every day. I choose in my home, I choose to have pictures up of, you know what I'm saying, of my family, of our moments, of our events, things that we do, right? I choose to have those things up in my home because I want my kids, and they're good about it. These are adults. I call them my kids, but these are adults. They ask this question: Dad, who's that? Dad, who is that? My kids also have kids, and we don't have photo albums on the table. We put them on the wall, but if you got them in your phone, how are they supposed to ask those questions? How are they supposed to know who this person is? Facebook has it where, family member, this or that, right? And if that family member follows your kids are like, well, who is this? Why should that be the only way they find out who it was? And we must, family must mean something to us, and don't pretend like this world we live in knows you better than your family. If you're a new parent, I would say this to you: learn and teach your kids what family is, because there is nothing more important than life than family. Okay? If you think I'm wrong, look at our kids, right? The moment they get a phone or they become a certain age where they have friends, right? And your kids get a chance to go outside into the world. Okay? They get to go out into the world and they rarely come home. They're always at their friend's house. They spend time at their friend's house. They eating dinner over there. They're hanging out with them. They choose to spend more time over there than at home. You must ask yourself why. Let's not pretend like it's just because they're kids being kids. When kids are seeking something, they look until they find it. If you're a single mom, that's great. You know what it takes to take care of your kids. You know what it takes to raise your kids, right? But don't let how you feel about your family take away from them knowing who their family is. Kids are telling you that they're seeking something, and if the friend house they choose to go over got both parents in the household, or they sit down and have dinner on Sunday, or if they go to the movies, they go bowling, and all you choose to do is hang out in the front yard and go to cookouts and stuff like that, the kids are telling you that they're missing something. This is why they do it the way that they do it. Okay? I grew up with two sisters. Okay? Even though we were close, I wanted to be around other parts of my family, the males in my family. Okay? Because I wanted to relate to my cousins. But as we got older, right, we started to drift apart. I still craved that bonding, with other males, because I grew up in a family full of women. Everybody in my family that had kids started out with 2 girls and a boy, which means that we're outnumbered 2-1. So that the male connections in my family, they were very strong because that's all we had. Everybody else was going to be a woman. The good thing about having women in my family was everybody could cook. Everybody could take care of home, right? Everybody could teach you emotions. So I learned it. The one thing that my family taught me, and I'm not talking about just my mom, but everybody, was you need to know how to take care of yourself. My friends in the street didn't teach me that. They taught me how to survive. They didn't teach me how to live. And there's a difference. When I chose to be out in the streets, I needed to know how to survive. But the moment I wanted to be in a relationship, right, the things that my family taught me came back into play. The streets didn't give that to me. The homeboys, the ones that was close to me and all that, they didn't teach me how to be in a relationship, how to be in a family, how to treat people and not take it so personal when people treat me a certain way. And those things come from family. Because again, the people we know, they only give us what we want from them. If they don't give us what we want, then we choose not to deal with them. Okay? As I got older, right? My mom made a lifestyle change for all of us. We decided to move out west. Okay, when we moved out west, I like to play basketball. Let's start there. I like to play basketball, right? Wasn't very good at it. Football was my sport. But I met 4 guys. We're not gonna go into their names, but these 4 guys turned out to be lifetime friends, still to this day. And those lifetime friends, whenever, because again, I didn't have a whole lot of family in California. We made this lifestyle change, right? And those 4 friends, when the 5 of us was together, whose ever house we went to, their parents, single or multiple parents in the household, right? Their parents treated us all like we were their own. There was a relationship with all 4 of our parents. So they knew where we was. We'd be out until 10 o'clock at night. And, it used to be we had to be in by the sundown, right? But in Cali, the park light stayed on until 10 o'clock. So we played ball all the time. We went to a park that legitimately saved all of our lives because the gang culture, the drugs, the pandering that was going on around us, right? We had people that kept us out of the street. They kept us in the gym, and we played ball every single day. That's all we did. We joked around. Some of us got beat up. Some of us got hung out, but the friendship never faded. The friendship never faded. And still to this day, we are friends. When they lost their parents, I did my best to be out there to them. When I lost my mom, one of them came all the way from California to be there. All I had to do was mention it, but it was because of that bond. We all seek family connections. All 4 of us, all 5 of us, our backgrounds were pretty much similar. One of us had moved from Arkansas. One of us had moved from the Bay Area. I had moved from Alabama, and one of them had moved from North Carolina. So we were from all different walks of life, but our backgrounds were the same. We all wanted family connections. And since we moved out there, we didn't have it. I ate at these people's houses. I spent the night at their house. When I got sick at one of their houses, somebody took me to the hospital. One of my friends broke their arm. My mom took him to the hospital until their parents got there. I'm saying all this to say that family connection is something that we all thrive. But who I was once we moved out west wasn't because that's what Cali made me. It was because of what my family in the South made me. I did everything I could to stay away, but at the end of the day, I'm still drawn back to that family connection. When you date someone, family means everything to them. I try to hide it because I try to stay out of my feelings. I try to stay away from things so that I don't get hurt. Because I'm that family member that everybody in my family knows. From my generation to the next generation up under me. They know who I am. And, for me, I looked back about a year ago, I want to say maybe 2, and I realized that almost every woman in my life that ever meant something to me was gone. My sister, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my wife, my aunt. All of these women played a role in my life, teaching me what love was, teaching me what family was. And I'm forever grateful to what they taught me. Connection is a link that bonds us all together. But that bond, like with our cousins, there was nothing like it, right? You never had to be scared. You never had to walk home alone. You know what I'm saying? You could always talk to your cousins. If you couldn't talk to your folks and something was wrong, you could talk to your cousin. That bond was so tight when I was younger that if we didn't do what we had to do, nothing was going to be done. Right? But if you talked to your cousin and we thought something was wrong that needed to be going to an adult, you know what we did? We told the adults because that was the connection. We was the one that could get you out of it if that's what needed to be done. Stop letting the world influence you and thinking that family doesn't matter. All you need is them. You don't need social media. It's just something to entertain us. The COVID era turned things, it sped up the clock on family dynamics passing. You realize that people are finding out that someone in their family died through a text message? Let that soak in, right? Somebody you know and that they know, you had to find out through a text message. What does that say? You know what I'm saying? Don't let that man, don't let that woman force you to turn your back on the only people who have geez, I can't even talk right now. I'm sorry. Don't let that man or that woman force you to turn your back, right, on the only people in this world who has ever known you. When family tells you he or she ain't, excuse my language, ain't shit, right? They ain't no good. Stop calling them haters and just listen for a minute. Family members, right? Family members, listen to me now, because I'm telling both sides of the story, right? If they tell you that he or she ain't shit, right? Listen for a minute. But the family members, right? Don't give them how do I say this? Don't give them, I'm sorry, let me slow down, okay? Give them fact-based opinions. Don't give them opinion-based information, okay? Family is not as close as we've gotten older, okay? But the bloodline runs through you is deep, okay? In my family, that Calhoun last name means something, okay? We may fight, we may argue, but trust and believe, when it all comes down to it, you gotta see us all, good or bad. Me and my sisters fought, okay? But we never had any doubt about how we felt about each other, okay? Family is supposed to bag on each other, okay? We should be the only ones who can. Truth be told, shit, I'm sorry, I keep cussing up. I do apologize. Let me back, okay? Truth be told, right? I didn't put this episode out to the public for questions because family is something that is dear to me. I'm blessed to have one sister left walking this earth, and she is amazing. She done things that I should have done when our other sister passed away. But at the time, I had a household. My excuses was I had a household that I was trying to take care of and that I was trying to get done. She did it without even thinking. I don't even know how to word it, you know what I'm saying? But she's listening to this episode, and every Mother's Day, I reach out to her before I even reach out to my kid's mother. Because to take on 4 kids that are not yours, when you don't have any kids, to give up your life as you know it to start over, that is a special person. But the only reason she can do something like that is because of the family connection that we have always had and that we grew up with. Even when we moved out west, my mom's best friend lived out there, and they were our family to us. We didn't lose that connection, right? We just developed an even bigger, atmosphere of family. As I stated before, right? My family is large. We're never alone. We have an unbelievable aunt me and my sister had an unbelievable aunt who stepped up when my sister passed away, when my mom passed away, which was her sister. Excuse me. We had our tragic losses, right? And our family, we are so tight. That Calhoun name means something. I look at my kids, I have my own. And every chance we get, we try to be a unit. Because I take my own advice. I want them to know their family history. I also created I'm also noticing that they're creating the same thing in their own homes. When, my kids are all grown now. They're all productive members of society. My daughter in California, she has her own family, and she stays true to it. She wants her kids to know, me. She wants them to know her mother. She wants them to know her family. When she comes around, them kids come with her, and we do things as a family. My oldest daughter lives in Indiana. She's craving for family because she's so far away, and every chance I get, I make sure I'm out there with her to spend the time with her. I just saw my son in Colorado, him and his family. And for me, I'm pleased because I see them spending time with their children and teaching them who family is, creating their own family. They don't keep them away from family. For me, it makes me feel special as a father, you know what I'm saying, that my kids want to be around me. Because I wasn't always there when they were younger. My oldest daughter, I was running the streets. And then something happened in life that I had to step up and be in her life every single day. Funny story is, my son's mother, I was living in the South, had moved back to the South, and I'm gonna keep going here, but she called me one day and she said, "Hey, your son wants to know why you're not in his life." I said, "Huh?" She said, "Hang on," and she gave him the phone. She made me own it because she wanted my son to have that family connection. She didn't want my son to go through life wondering or guessing. And from that day forth, I stepped forward. I was there in his life. And those stories are different for each one of our kids, for my kids. But the one thing I know is that there is a connection. There is a bond. Holidays, events, things like that going on in life, my kids are all there. We try to do what we can. Sometimes I got to foot the bill. Sometimes I got to tell them they got to do it on their own. I'm saying all this is because I want you, my listeners, to understand that family has to matter. We must give them the strength and encouragement to move forward, okay? So as we bring this episode to a close, I want you to remember something, okay? Family don't have to be close to have that bond, but there must be a bond. If there was a bond, you have something to build on. Allow them kids to know what it's like to visit their grandparents, not get dropped off over there, but to visit them. Because if you show them young what it's like to visit their grandparents, as they get older, they'll still want to go by there and visit. When you go by the grandparents' house, whether it be mom or whether it be your dad, or even if your great grandparents are still alive, right? Show them what it's like to go over there and do acts of service for them. Because they get as those kids get older, they're gonna want to go by there and do those same things because they saw you do it, because you are their first role models. You are who they're learning from. Okay? Family love and connection. Reach out to those cousins and let them meet their other little cousins. While you catch up, while kids are in there playing and getting to know each other, right? You can catch up with your favorite cousin and find out where it all went wrong. I didn't do questions on this episode prior to this one, right? Because I wanted to speak from the heart. But I truly hope someone listening to this episode, right, can relate to what it is I'm talking about and will try something different. All from a place of love. Everyone will at least, I'm hoping everyone will at least like and share this episode. If nothing else, share it with your family, right? That cousin. Maybe it'll be the connection that you need, right, to get you back to where it is you need to be. Family has to have value in our life. It must mean something, okay? In closing, I want to make sure I let everybody know that you can listen to this episode on every major platform, okay? Wherever you get your podcasts, your music at, you can listen to. Follow the website, the dblpodcast.wordpress.com, okay? Go follow the website. There are things that are going to be coming up, and we're going to do what we need to do. Until we all meet again, I want everybody to stay true, stay blessed. Next week's episode is going to be on family legacy, okay? I want everybody to tune in next week, and I love you each. I thanks everybody for listening. Please tune in. Please let everybody know what's going on, okay? Until then, peace out. I miss you. Happy birthday, Mom. I love you.